I think we're live. So, when you're talking about PMS, maybe the guys aren't talking about it as much, but the ladies are. It's something I tried to help women with for, you know, all the time I was an acupuncturist for sure, because I had mostly female clients, and that was an issue no matter if they were, fairly young women or nearing menopause, in menopause, even postmenopausal. Because you're thinking, well, I'm past PMS. This isn't really a discussion that even should interest me. But that isn't the case. When we're talking about PMS, that really isn't a thing. It's kind of like COVID. COVID's not a thing. It's a list of symptoms. Premenstrual syndrome. Pre, during, post. Women talk about having PMS all the time. However, I think technically the allopathic world says you don't have PMS unless it's pretty much every single month. If it's once in a while I have bad cramping, breast distension and tenderness, bloating and so on, once in a while is not enough to qualify as PMS. You must have it on a regular basis. So there's that Western side of, well, you qualify or you don't qualify for having PMS. But a lot of women I treated had issues frequently, if not every month. So, you can do all kinds of things with the Western world. If you have irritability or stress or that nervousness that comes with PMS, then you can have some drugs. You can have alprazolam. If you have depression, of course, you can take some Prozac with your PMS. If you got breast discomfort, like I mentioned, you can take a Parladel. You can take, for fluid retention and bloating, a diuretic. If you have premenstrual pain, you can take some type of painkiller. If you have joint pain and headaches in particular, you can take a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. If you have multiple symptoms, here's some progesterone therapy. If you have some blocked ovarian function, here's some Lupron, right? A drug for every little thing that might be under the umbrella of premenstrual syndrome. So, that's the West and how they approach it. In the East, in Chinese medicine in particular, you're thinking, well, we have all of these organ systems, right? We have all of these organ systems, and they have all of these channels, these pathways that have been recognized in Chinese medicine a long time. A long time. And they go, well, this stuff right here, you know what? Is my camera messy? It looks weird. It really looks funky. Let's see if I can just, excuse me. Is that better? Maybe. We want to recognize that these external pathways that connect to all these different organ systems also have internal pathways that are interconnected. All these organ systems in Chinese medicine are interconnected. They aren't separate. You don't go to, well, I'm going to go to this acupuncturist over here, and she deals with only liver issues, and then this guy over here deals with the spleen, and then that lady, she deals with the small intestine. We don't do that, because they all connect together. All those meridians are all working together. This information flow is happening all around the body, all through the body, and we want to recognize that when these go a little askew, then we start having physical issues sometimes. In fact, what we're really good at doing in Chinese medicine is going, let's look at what symptoms you have going on and find out what's happening, even if the Western world goes, we can't find anything wrong with you. That's what we do best, is to let you know, hey, the energetic infrastructure in your body is not right, and we're going to make some adjustments to try to get you closer to being harmonized. Notice we don't talk about, I'm on a cleanse. I'm on a cleanse again. I did a bowel cleanse. Now I'm doing a liver cleanse. I'm gonna do a kidney cleanse. I may do a reproductive cleanse. I'll let you know how that goes. I'm gonna do all kinds of cleanses. I'm gonna cleanse my lungs. I'm gonna cleanse a lymphatic system. Clean, clean, clean. The West is all about cleaning things out. Chinese medicine's about finding harmony in the process of finding harmony, your body may go, well, what is that? We don't need that. Get that out of here. And it may let it go. It may cleanse it. But to deliberately always go about cleansing is a very juvenile, young culture approach to dealing with health. I do alternative medicine only. I do my fruit smoothies in the morning, and I put some vegetables in there, and it's really tasty. And I do my salads at lunch. I'll put some tofu in there for some substance, and then that's the idea in the West of taking care of yourself. And then I'm gonna do like a 30-day juice cleanse. Are you doing a juice cleanse? Do a juice cleanse with me. Let's all do a juice cleanse, okay? I'll probably lose at least 12 pounds in a juice cleanse. That's the West approach. And the Chinese approach is more of how do we find harmony here? And here's the deal, ladies. Diet does matter for premenstrual syndrome or any kind of hormonal whatever. It does really matter. It does. But I'm going to tell you, level 1 of that is don't eat crap. I know, it's a shocker. You're like, what? You mean if I eat processed foods, my body isn't as healthy as it could be otherwise? What? This is a shock. Yeah, I know. It's not a shock. Don't eat crap. Level 1. Level 2, if you're going to do vegetables and meat, I would recommend that you do something like a Mark Sisson, the primal diet guy. His seems very sustainable for most people. He's eating certain vegetable matter. He's eating meats, different kinds of meats, and he's doing some good combining of those things, and most people can eat the way he talks about it. And I mentioned Mark because he's been around a long time. He had Primal Kitchen. He started Primal Kitchen, which is all these lower carbohydrate type of dressings and sauces, and then he sold that to Kraft for $200 million, and they kept him on for a while to keep the continuity of the product, the quality of the product, be the face of the product, and he said you can't change ingredients probably for X amount of years, and so the agreement was made, and he's now a multimillionaire. He's still a great dude when it comes to understanding the whole idea of eating in a way I think is probably a hormonally healthy thing to do. However, if you're finding that's still not getting it done for you, what you can probably do is tighten up by taking the carbohydrate count down even lower. How low, Keith? Maybe even like 50 grams of protein or less a day, and then see how you do that for a while and see what happens to your hormones if things don't reset. There's things you can do with diet to adjust. Frank says Paul Saladino Carnivore Code's a good resource too. Yeah, Frank says he's met Mark Sisson. Paul Saladino is good. Paul has caught the ire of some of the carnivore movement because he's advocating honey and fruit on a fairly regular basis in his daily intake. And there's some problems with that for some people, they think. Others think he's doing fine. Look, you guys have heard me talk about it over and over again when it comes to food. Look at this. You can tell me all day long how we all came from the equator or some type of equatorial, type of setting. But look at this. I'm pink. Okay? I have pink skin. My ancestors haven't been at the equator for a long time. I wouldn't do well there at all. Not happening. So outside of the equator, you have certain seasons of the year that fruit actually grows and is ripe to eat. And those are small windows for most of us. So the idea of eating fruit every day, all through the winter, all in the early spring, is nonsense. There's hardly anywhere you're living where that's going to happen. You can't find it in nature. Only through shipping, through refrigerated shipping, or flights, aircraft shipping, boat, air, however, truck. Without that, you're not eating all the colors of the rainbow in your fruit and vegetables. It's absolutely nonsense. Just use your brains, cut off the dogma for a second, and just think about it. Take away all the shipping. What am I eating for fruit where I live, that's grown where I live, and when? It's not that much. Certain time of year, you're going to be a glutton, and then it's gone. Take away the greenhouses too, okay? So you're not eating fruit all the time. It's not the way our ancestors did it unless you lived on the equator. And again, how many of you look like you probably would survive in the equator very long without suffering a lot? I would suffer mightily at the equator. It's not going to happen for this guy. So food can help. But we need to get beyond that, because for a lot of you ladies, the reason that you're having hormone issues, period, premenstrual syndrome, PMS, whatever, or menopause, is because of the emotional states that are going on, that you've had going on, patterns you've had going on for quite a while, maybe the majority of your life. That's how it's worked. And so when we look at these meridians and start talking about energetic flow and start talking about emotional states and how the emotions are connected to all of your organ systems, certain emotions are correlated with certain organ systems. They've been paired up. And when you sit in an emotion long enough, it gets stuck, gets caught in a holding pattern, then the organ systems that that emotion or emotions are connected to, they start to suffer. And the degree they suffer depends upon your background. This is where your inheritance does make a difference. This is why some of you go, well, look, Keith, PMS runs in my family. These hormone issues run in my family. My mother had it. My sisters have it. My aunts have it on my mother's side. Her sisters, her mother did. My grandmother. It's genetics. But is it? Is it genetics? And what are genetics, really? If we're going to try to omit energetic inheritance, then you can't do that. You have to look at your inheritance, your genetics, as a chromosomal thing. Your chromosomes, your antenna that send out information into the ether and receive information and bring it into the body through your genetics, also have all of these emotional and energetic patterns that have been, inherited, but they can change. They are malleable. So I'm going to give you one major one that women suffer from with this whole hormonal PMS thing. And that is, most of you are pissed off. Those are fighting words, Keith. Don't you dare tell a woman she's pissed off all the time. Now you're going to make her mad. I know, that's my point. They're angry. And I'm not making any judgment about whether they should be or not. Because guess what? The men are angry too. Humanity overall is pretty pissed off. And how you deal with that, it depends on angry syndrome. Yes, Frank, angry syndrome. They're angry. You're frustrated. You're irritated. And that happens, it starts to affect the liver. That is a liver chi, liver energy, stuckness, a stagnation pattern. And the symptoms of that include, you're going to love this, I'm going to list it right here. All right, you ready? Depression and melancholy before the period. I feel so depressed and melancholy. I can't wait to start my period, so this will lift. Heard that a few times. A propensity to outbursts of anger. How dare you say I'm irritated? I'm not irritated. You're irritated. And you know that it'll probably get better once your period starts. Moodiness, irritability, anxiety, a feeling of fullness or congestion in the chest, a feeling of distension or pain under the rib cage, muttering to oneself, headache with anxiety, heavy, early periods, a thin tongue coating. You stick your tongue out in the mirror, what's the coat look like? Is it thin? It could be. Maybe it's even peeled. Like there's no coat on it at all. It just looks like somebody scraped it clean. So many of these symptoms increase before the period and return to normal after the period. Liver stuff, okay? And that is so many women. Now, however, there's another organ system that contributes to certain PMS issues, signs. And this is a heart-blood deficiency pattern. Now, I'll explain what heart-blood deficiency is, because that's not something that most people have heard of. Like, what in the heck is heart blood? What does that mean? Well, when the blood is moving through the hollow organs, such as the heart, there's a certain property that these organs, each of them, imbue to the blood certain qualities. And the heart is imbuing a certain quality to the blood as the blood is passing through it. And we need to talk about what happens when that doesn't happen. Okay? So when the heart is not imbuing that, you end up having a deficiency state in the blood. For those of you who are startled easily, who don't fall asleep very easily, feel a lot of anxiety, often there's a bit of heart blood deficiency. So when we talk about lots of anger in that custom and culture dimension, I bet, surely so, Frank, absolutely. If you look at a 5-element chart where you have wood, you have fire, you have earth, you have metal, and you have water, you can see how each one of those, if you move clockwise like a clock, right, clockwise, you can see how each one of those elements feeds the next element. I wish I had visuals right now, but I don't. Just think about this for me. Wood, which contains the organ systems of liver and gallbladder, wood feeds what? I know it's difficult. Put on your thinking caps. Squint your eyes, put your fingers to your temples, and think hard. What does wood feed in an elemental model? Fire! Oh, you're all geniuses. Stop it now. I'm going to just want to pat you all on the heads and love on you. Yes, wood feeds fire. Well, what's under the fire element? Heart. We're just talking about that. Pericardium, small intestine, and an organ system that, well, a meridian that doesn't have an organ system, a meridian that has no actual affiliation. That's called the triple heater, or triple warmer, or triple burner. And what it says is basically is there's a channel that runs through the whole length of the body, and it's creating a connection between all the cavities and the major cavities of the body. Just keeping all this stuff regulated, all the different heat regulation, some hormone affiliation in this case. That's what we're going to focus on. All that's under fire. So now what happens to a fire if there's not enough wood on it? Thinking caps, put hands to the temples, squint the eyes, think very hard. Oh, what could happen to fire if you don't feed it with the wood? You have a flame that's dying out. It isn't being fed. The fire is going to fail. So if the heart is under the umbrella, right, Frank, it goes out. If the heart, which is under the umbrella of this fire element or fire phase, if it's not being fed and it starts to dwindle, then the heart, the pericardium, the sac around the heart, the protector of the heart, the small intestine, that mysterious triple warmer meridian, they all start to starve out. So the heart isn't getting enough wood because it's constrained. The liver is jammed up. The person is angry. Hello, Debbie. And the person's angry, and the energy isn't moving because the wood element is about the smooth movement of energy throughout the body. It's like if suddenly your house became pissed off and said, I hate all of you living in here. You don't take care of me. You don't paint the walls. You ding up the woodwork. You don't vacuum the carpet, and you don't mop the floors. I hate all of you. Therefore, I'm angry, and the energy flow, the electricity flow, is going to be sporadic. You may get some electricity in one room, but not in the rest of the house. Maybe one, I don't know. It depends on what mood I'm in. Sometimes you'll get electricity, sometimes you won't. Deal with it. Now, take that to the liver. The liver's like, I can't, I'm angry. The energy isn't going to leave here if I don't want it to. It's going to be constrained. It's going to build up and create heat. And the heat's going to go all over the place and cause all kinds of symptoms. And I'll tell you what's not going to get heat, though. The fire. The fire is not going to get any wood, damn it. I'm keeping the wood all to myself. I'm storing it up out in the wood house, and you're getting nothing. And the heart's like, please, please give me some wood. And it suffers, and the heart suffers. And so when the blood's passing through the heart, what's the heart imbuing to the blood? Not a whole lot. Not much at all. So you get heart blood deficiency. So the heart is then too weak, okay, to store what? Your spirit. Look at this. I'm looking into the camera. Do you see this? This is my shin, my spirit moving into the camera. Do you feel it? Do you feel it penetrating into your eyeballs, into your brain, into your spinal column? Right? That's the spirit. Evelyn, I love the drama. It reminds me this morning. You must have had one heck of a morning. And so when the heart can't contain the spirit, when your spirit does not have a beautiful, soft, fluffy, cozy bed to lie down into at night, it doesn't have that. Then what you end up having is a unsettled spirit. I just can't go to sleep. I can't settle in. I just feel anxious at night. I don't know what's wrong with me. I just feel kind of jumpy, but during the day too. Heart blood deficiency. The heart blood is not keeping a nice, comfortable place for the spirit to dwell. Therefore, the spirit cannot nestle in. And then the spleen gets involved. Like, no, wait a minute, Keith. Whoa. Where's the spleen coming into this? Well, the spleen also has a relationship with the heart, and the heart with the spleen. So when the spleen becomes deficient, the spleen causes phlegm. What? Yes, you heard me, Coltrane. Phlegm. When you're eating, you eat the food. Oh, it's so yummy. I love chocolate croissants and a little cortado drink in the morning. It's so tasty. And you swallow it down, and it goes down the proper throat, as Origin says. It didn't go down the wrong throat, Daddy. It went down the right throat. And it works its way down into your stomach. And the stomach combines all these juices, and it starts to break it up further and further and further. And then energetically, it passes what it's broken down energetically to the spleen. And the spleen's title, its role energetically, is the role of the transformer and the transporter. Not that kind of transformer. Don't put the Autobots in this. It's transforming energetically the more crude, gross, not gross as in yucky, but as in large, the unrefined food energetics. It starts breaking it down further and further and further and further, and then it sends it up to the lungs and other places to nourish all the little nooks and crannies and bits and pieces of your body. Unless the spleen's like, oh my gosh, so tired, so tired. I think I'm going to lie down. I'm too tired to do anything today. And your stomach's like, whoa. You got work to do, dude. Look, they ate something. Dude ate something here. He ate something. It's got to go down. I do my job. And then I hand it to you, and you break it down further, and you transport it where it needs to go energetically. What do you mean you're not going to work today? I just don't feel like it. I feel kind of sloggy. My arms are floppy and tired. I really can't even think straight. I'm just going to lie down for the next week. You can't do that. Your spleen is deficient at that point. So then all those particles that should have been broken down further to be dispersed like a little atomizer, spritzing all the energy all over the body, it doesn't do that. And it stays kind of thick and clumpy and gets stuck and creates a thing we call phlegm. Yes, that phlegm. But not just that phlegm. Energetically, thick energy. It could present as phlegm. It could also present as stagnation in your reproductive system. Who here, ladies, has had blood clots? In fact, who here, ladies, has had blood clots that are so freaking big, you're like, am I miscarrying a child? What is happening here? This is not good for dinner time talk, I'm telling you, but these chunks are enormous coming out of the vagina. What's happening here? Why do I have huge blood clots? And some are red, some are reddish purple, and some are dark purple. What is happening? Am I going to live? That's what they wonder. Because of all of that stagnation. So between the liver stagnating and heating up and getting angry, nothing's really moving, and then the spleen, who's checking out because it's exhausted, it's deficient, all this stuff, this energy stops moving. And guess what energizes blood? I just used the word energy. Energy energizes the blood. They are like this. They are twisted up all beautifully together. All right? All right? It's twisted up. They're intertwined. They're interdependent. The blood is propelled and activated and vitalized by the energy. And then the energy is piggybacking on all the blood particles and stuff to be disseminated in that manner. They both need each other. But if it stagnates, or there's not enough energy, not the right kind of energy in the blood, then you end up with all kinds of reproductive issues. Let's talk about it, shall we? So if we look at this whole spleen-generating phlegm, well, the phlegm stagnates. It doesn't move anymore. And then it ends up creating its own heat. And as opposed to the spleen going, I'm a nurturer. I'm a lovely, soft mama who loves to love on her babies and nourish them, give them hugs, put her huge wings around them and shelter them from the storm. I'm the mama. I'm the earthy mama, loving on my babies. Instead, the spleen and stomach, which are the earth organ systems, they go, you're kind of on your own. Figure it out. But we're hungry, mama. I'm sorry. Mama's too tired. I'm going to eat some bonbons and watch some soap operas. Keith, that's absolutely stereotypical. Are you stereotyping people? Just for example here, just for storytelling, Ellen. All right? So then the spleen cannot nourish the heart, cannot mother the heart. In fact, it's passing heat to the heart. And you end up with all of these phlegm, heat, harassment patterns. That's how I'm summarizing the liver and the spleen. I would really throw kidney in there, but we're not going to do that. Liver, we'll just say liver, spleen, and heart. The kidneys are a part of this, but just for tonight, we'll just talk about those three organ systems and how influential they are with this whole PMS. So many of the typical PMS symptoms occur in all three patterns, but specific symptoms as well as specific type of Chinese medical indicators are used to differentiate which pattern. That's how we figure out which one of these major organ systems is your issue with your symptoms. For instance, clinical practice in China have shown that heavy and early periods are, again, low associated with the liver qi, the stagnation. A scanty and late period, oh my gosh, am I pregnant? When did we have sex there, Scott? Did we have sex a month ago? 2 months ago? When was that? Did you put it in your calendar? I'm late. Oh my gosh, I may have a baby cooking. But what if it's not that? What if it's just late, okay, because of this type of liver energy stagnation problem, okay, which then translated into what? Heart blood deficiency. So if the blood is deficient and you're late starting, often there's a heart blood deficiency stagnant pattern going on there, okay? A heavy vaginal discharge is associated with phlegm, heat, harassment, okay? So you see, all of this idea of things not getting fed, things slowing down and stagnating energetically, things getting hot, things getting gooey, all this energetic goofiness and dysfunction ends up giving you all these different types of dysfunctional PMS patterns. So let's talk about this a little further. Down below here, we talked about, again, let's go back to this heart blood deficiency. So heart blood deficiency patterns, again, are what? Emotional upset with the periods. Don't talk to me, Charlie. I can't talk to you right now. I just feel very verklempt. I'm emotional. You know how I get this time of the month. Don't you dare cross me the wrong way. I'll snap your head off. Right? That heart blood deficiency. Don't mess with a woman when she's in that state. Speaking incoherently. Hey, you see my car keys? I think I must have left my car keys in the refrigerator. Is the refrigerator running? We should catch it if it's running. We don't want a running refrigerator because it could get hurt and hit by a car. What are you talking about? I don't know. Incoherent talking. Just like that, right? Sadness, fatigue, sluggishness, heart palpitations. That's a freaky one, right? You're like you're lying there all of a sudden and like, what is going on in my chest right now? And you think you may be having a heart attack, but you're like, but I'm 32 and I'm a woman. Why would I be having a heart attack when I'm 32 and I'm a woman? Well, until the last 2 years, there were no reasons for that really. But after the last couple of years, maybe more reasons than we had before. Insomnia, poor memory, inert facial expression. Inert. Did you enjoy the movie? It's fantastic. Are you sure? Absolutely. I was thrilled to watch it. I'd watch it again at any other time. I was amazed and I was exhilarated by the experience. Not buying it. So inert facial expression. Dull, pale complexion, scanty and light periods of light red flow. All right? These type of things are showing that heart blood deficiency. All right, moving along. That whole phlegm, heat, harassment thing, right? We talked about the spleen being deficient, not processing its energy properly to break it down further to be distributed through the whole body. And so this phlegm, heat thing starts up. Well, what are those symptoms like? Well, one thing people tend to do when they have this going on, they want to eat a lot of hot and spicy, greasy foods. They often have chronic emotional trauma that also has contributed to this phlegm heat pattern. And the symptoms include specifically anxiety, headache, insomnia before the period, agitation, more incoherent speech, red face, bloodshot eyes, right? All these heat symptoms, a feeling of oppression in the chest, angry outbursts, poor appetite, no thanks, none for me, constipation, red tongue body, a yellow, nasty, sticky coating to the tongue. All this stuff happening, typically intensifying before the period and returning to normal after the period is over. Now, this probably sums up a lot of the stagnation, heat patterns, deficiency patterns that women experience. Do you see how complicated? You're probably going, I have no idea what you just said for the last 30 minutes. I didn't really follow much of that. You may not have, because these are foreign concepts for most of you. They should be. You don't live in the world of Chinese medicine. Why would you? But this is how they look at it. So when I'm talking to women and they're telling me, I inherited all of these hormonal issues, Keith. It's all from the women in my family. Is it? Or did you all pass along a certain way of dealing with your life? Did you pass along the same filtration system, the same outlook on your life, and that you approach things in a similar way? It's like looking at a family who's morbidly obese and going, my Lord, they've all inherited metabolic syndrome. They're all obese, morbidly obese. It must be genetics. It couldn't be what they're all eating or what stressors they're all exposed to as a family living under the same roof. Couldn't be that. See how it's not so simple to go, it's genetics. What does that mean? This is a complex thing. But I'm telling you, the big one that people don't face, ladies, is emotionally what's going on. And yes, your inheritance from your ancestors do matter on how this manifests. It does. Don't get me wrong. When a woman says, for instance, Morena Baccarin, is that her name? She was in the, one of her most famous things was the TV series, the second time around, V. The series V. She was also Deadpool's girlfriend in the first Deadpool movie. I think she dies in the second one. She's a beautiful girl. She was in Homeland, the series Homeland. So Morena Baccarin. She's being interviewed by an actor that I like who has a show. And I'm listening to her talk about how she's dealing with her life. He's just asked her questions. He knows her pretty well. What's your home life like? And in between doing movies and TV, and how do you guys juggle your kids? And how do you feel on a daily basis? And she goes, you know, for a long time, I just really felt like it was really weak of me to go on any kind of antidepressants. But I finally just couldn't take what was happening to me during my menstrual cycle, my PMS, and I started taking an antidepressant during a small window of time to get me through that, and it really helped. Now think about this. She probably has more money than the average person, average American, and she has access to probably what she wants. She could pay for it. You know, I'm not saying she's wealthy beyond imagination, but better than the average person. And yet she's still depending on her doctors to give her the thing to help her through the hump of PMS. Now she described the rest of her life and how she is with life. Very forthcoming, it seemed like. She was really cool. And obviously, there's a lot of emotional things going on with her. Okay? It's with a lot of us. But that wasn't factored in. She wasn't thinking, well, I'm I'm really irritated with my husband for checking out every time it gets chaotic in the house. He just leaves the house and goes to his office and leaves me with it. When it comes time for dinner and the preparation of dinner, and it's time to get those things ready, he just leaves. So she's a little pissed about that. Our emotions matter. We've talked about this. If the liver is getting gummed up because of anger, frustration, irritation, hatred, rage, that is going to affect your menstrual cycle. It's going to affect your movement through menopause. It's going to affect your life after menopause. I have a lot of women who go, well, I'm through the change. All my worries are over now. I'm through the change. All that crazy up and down isn't going to be a problem. Well, it may not be the same kind of expression of symptoms you had before. That's true. But don't you know it's going to come out some other way? Just because your body has shifted how it's venting the dysfunction doesn't mean the dysfunction isn't there anymore. And no, you can't tap it away. You can't pretend like it's not there or disconnect your awareness from what's still in there. So, ladies, your hormonal cycles, whether you're childbearing years or post, are very much tied to your sense of well-being, your emotional states. It just is what it is. To try to treat everything with drugs or surgery, you're not paying attention to what your body is trying to tell you. If you have heart blood deficiency and you can't sleep and you feel like you're easily startled and you're highly emotional, you just explode and erupt, you just cry at the drop of a hat, whatever the emotional state is, but it's erratic, and all the other things we listed there a minute ago, you don't want to just start taking drugs. See, John, can you tell me why EFT won't work? Absolutely. Because it is a shortcut pretending to be something that's deep work. It's not much different than taking drugs. It is too different from taking drugs. Not really. Side effects, sure. But what are drugs trying to do? Trying to mute symptoms in your body. Your body's trying to tell you something, and you're like, shh, quiet. I don't want to hear it. What's EFT doing? I have a problem. I have something that's irritating me. I know what I'll do. I'll just tap some meridians. Remember, these aren't just random points. These are on certain meridians, certain points that connect to those meridians, and you're trying to do what? What do you think you're doing with EFT? What do you think is happening with EFT? Do you think that the emotional state and the thought patterns that you're having that help create the emotional states and your history of trauma, do you think all that just goes by tapping on some acupuncture points and thinking a certain thing or saying a certain phrase? That's some really crazy magic, right? Or is it more likely that what it's doing is temporarily disconnecting your awareness on a certain level, conscious and in a few steps, from the actual dynamic that's sitting in the deep waters? So the deep waters in you are still troubled. They're still storing all kinds of toxic things in these little boxes that are leaking out the toxicity all in the water. But you're sitting on the boat in the top going, good thing I can't tell what's down there anymore, because it was really bothering me. But I disconnected my awareness from it, and now I feel great. That's a nice temporary fix if you can't function, PTSD, whatever. I've used it. It's not like I don't have experience with EFT. I used it for a few reasons. I would use it, but I always knew it was temporary. And the deeper issues sitting down below in the deep waters of the person have not been taken care of at all. How do you know that? Because I can feel it in them. If I bring you into me, or me into you, however you want to look at it, and I'm wearing your energetic infrastructure, I'm bringing it in and I'm experiencing you, and I feel all of this tumultuous stuff going down below, and I've tapped a few had you tap a few points and you don't notice it anymore, but I can feel it plain as day still in there, guess what? It didn't go anywhere. All I can come to as a conclusion is you're just disconnected from that. That is a dangerous situation. That's going to come up and come out some way. And just because you don't know that it's there anymore or you've lessened your awareness of it doesn't mean it's gone. We are lazy, lazy, lazy human beings. We want the quick, easy, dirty way out. But the truth is the only way to resolve these things or to navigate the waters, keep this theme alive, navigate these deep waters is to go in, do the deep dive with your consciousness, spend time down there, and talk to all of these little areas that are storing all of your charged trauma, charged emotions that aren't moving. Because the only emotion that is a bad emotion, a negative emotion, is one that isn't moving. Fear, anger, rage, all of it. Cry your eyes out, all of it is perfectly normal as a part of human experience. It's when it stalls out that we have problems. Shoving it down. I've had something traumatic happen. Well, we don't want that up here. We're trying to operate this entire organism. Get that crap out of here. And so you just shove it down into the basement. Ellen, look at this. I agree. I use for a temporary fix, emotional alchemy is the key. Right? That's perfectly said. I agree, she says. I use EFT for a temporary fix, right? You need some relief from the intensity of the moment, so you tap your way into relief, but you know you can't just do that. You got to go and do the emotional alchemy to actually make the waters clearer again. Not pretend like that it's not messed up. But how much easier is this? But Keith, I just use my device, I just tap my way through it, whatever it is, those are not the deep dive. We've got to get away from being lazy. We have to. There's some trauma coming, ladies and gentlemen. If you think all of what just happened, and you're welcome, C. John, what's coming, you think this is it, that we're done, and the ripple from this of half the world or more, give or take, maybe a little less, a little more, you think that's over? You think, whew, I'm glad that COVID thing's in the rearview mirror. Whew, that sucked. It's not over. Because the ripple from it is just starting. And now they've got another one coming that they've got planned. Because too many people fell for the first one. Well, this isn't the first one. This is the latest one. You're going to have to really get used to the deep dive. Because if you don't keep the waters dealt with and cleansed, purified, it's going to get so toxic in there, a lot of you aren't going to make it. Not because you took this. You're going to be too toxic inside from what you're going through. And you may check out earlier, at least wish you could. You're going to be so miserable in your existence. That's so dire, Keith. You're a downer. Yeah, maybe. I'm just trying to be forthright. So emotions, ladies, the only difference between you and men in some ways is you have this beautiful feedback device that lets you know when things are screwed up. You don't just walk around going, everything's good by me, I'm good. Boom, fall over dead. Right? Because guys don't have a monthly feedback system going, wow, this period sucks this month. I'm cramping like crazy, and ow, if a strong wind hits my boobs, it hurts. Oh, there's so much distension and tenderness. Oh, we don't have any of that. No warning signs that are that obvious. I got blood clots the size of golf balls in here. Baseballs. Those are obvious signs something's not right, or I skipped my period, or it was way late. Heart blood deficiency. I mean, right? Frank says, I suck at tap dancing. COVID orchestra may have many scores to go. We have 3 to 4 more years, plenty till the lack of abundance kicks in. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's so complicated. So it's just, ladies, you happen to have that reproductive system that lets you know as an indicator when all these other organ systems aren't harmonized. Dudes don't have that. We're kind of ticking time bombs if we're not tapped into what's going on inside of us. Until it's just too late, we keel over. Women, you can't ignore it. I can't get out of bed. How come? PMS, dude, cramps are killing me. I can't move. I can't see straight. I've got hot water bottle on me. I've got, all the things you do. But it doesn't have to be that way. It could be better. And part of that better is diving in there and looking at what's going on. If anything, and please, this is a guy saying this, don't reach to the screen and kill me. Last point. In a way, you have a compass that we don't have as men. And if you can really tap into that thing and follow the ebbs and flows of what's going on inside of that reproductive cycle, you can fine-tune things in a way that men can't as easily do. We have to go in, drop our conscious down in, do the searching around inside of us to figure out what is going on, and then rectify that before it gets out of hand and we lose control and maybe check out early. Women have early indicators. You just weren't taught growing up in a Western culture what those indicators mean. Liz says, Pangu Shingon has helped smooth out my PMS symptoms. Right? I would never claim, ladies, that everything just goes away. I don't know about you. I don't know any one thing I can do to where I have certain patterns of really strong distortion in my life that just suddenly right themselves and never have a problem with them again. There's not much refinement of my heart and soul if it's that easy. We're back to EFT again. Where's the refinement process if everything's just like, I just tap here, or I just wave my hands in some circles and it all goes away? But Pangu Shingon, as Liz is mentioning here, it isn't just as simple as making symptoms go away. There's something that's happening in a deeper purification, refinement process deliberately by the activity, that exercise that's ideally done daily, that starts to shift and change you on a deeper level. So much of our aches and pains and dysfunction are not because of our environment. We love to blame it all on that. It's the food, it's the air, it's the chemtrails, it's the water, it's the lack of sleep, it's the technology, it's the EMFs, it's the... Yes, sure, all contributing factors. But so much of what's going on that's not right in our lives is happening on the inside. And that is a much more difficult thing to get a handle on and even know where to go to find the answers. Now, I would never claim to be the best in this household for helping you take the deepest of dives. I'm not. Angel's the best for taking the deepest of dives. She really is. But I can get you started in the diving process. When I talk about, like tomorrow night, right, from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to talk about applied kinesiology, muscle testing, right? And all this, or whether you use a pendulum, or whether you use a toughness device. Most of you don't know what that is, but it's, or a stick plate, they call it. It's where you're like, you're asking a question like, okay, so is this supplement good for you? I got some friction here when I asked that question, so it's a little good for you. How about that one? Oh, that one's creating tons of drag, tons of friction. This is the one for you out of the two of them. This is the one your body really needs. It's telling me yes because I've got all this friction here. How about the third one? Nope. No friction, no drag. Third one's not for you at all, right? It's a quick way to muscle test. But all of them are dependent on a few things being aligned in you right for correct answers. And so tomorrow night, I'm going to talk about what it means to take a deeper dive of what's really going on when you're pressing on someone's arm or leg in a certain direction and they're holding something or saying something or thinking something. What's going on when you use a pendulum? What's going on when you use a stick plate? Or any other kind of external feedback device that is giving you answers to questions. I'm going to take you inside to understand what is really going on when you're using those devices, and how to take what's going on inside of you and start to open that pathway up into a deeper understanding of what it means to feel around to understand what your body's trying to tell you. Because you can take a deeper dive and get past all those external devices that are going to keep you trapped at a superficial level of understanding if you always depend on those. Okay? Which I did for quite a while. I depended on a stick plate on my belt, a little disc, for quite a while. Until I had a teacher go, you keep doing it, you're always going to do it. And you're missing out on so much information about you and about somebody you're working on, or a pattern of dysfunction in any situation. You're missing out on details because you're out here and not in here where all the rich information is happening. Thank you all for being here. I hope this has helped you a little bit to understand maybe the complexities energetically of what are happening inside of you and why dysfunction happens in reproductive cycles for women. That is more than just hormones. Yes, but it's more than that. Okay? So anyway, thank you all for being here. I'm not going to treat tonight. I'm going to go upstairs at 6:51 and enjoy my family. And tomorrow's Wednesday. I'll be treating everybody tomorrow, though. I will. See you all at, I believe, noon Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. All right, cool. Later.